Hello again. Uh, have you ever had one of those days? Well, I had one this morning. A friend asked me to make a card for her friend's mum who is going to be 80. And the thing that she said that this lady liked to do was knitting. Well, I knew I had this die from many moons ago. I think I wanted to do a something or other on a baby card, and I put knitting into a search, and this is knitting die. This is about the only one that came up, and I got it on eBay, and I didn't actually use it that time. What I did was to actually knit a little bit of something and use some cocktail sticks with beads on the end as the knitting pins, and I put that on the card, and I never used this. Anyway, having been faced with the problem of doing a card with something to do with knitting, I remembered this die and I thought I'll give it a go. Well, that's where we started to go downhill. I'll just show you. This is some of the detritus from my efforts. I tried all sorts with this die. It was absolute rubbish. I did the first one, couldn't get it out of the die without ripping. So then I tried some parchment paper and some wax paper. I can't see the remnants of that, but there was some somewhere, maybe in here, can't see. Tried putting parchment paper in first and then the card and then the running it through the machine. That didn't work. I tried some foil. That didn't work. I tried some thinner card. That didn't work. I tried embossing and then cutting it out the outside. And I'm not happy with that because it's all rubbish around the needle things. I thought, well, what am I going to do? And it's just, started to do this one. And I thought, well, we're getting better. This is an embossing. And I started to try and colour in the knitting pins with this, and that looked dreadful. So I thought, what am I going to do? I don't know whether this is, it was cheap, I have to say. I got it on eBay, but it was the only one that I could find. So I don't know if it's one of those ones that people say come from China. In fact, loads of proprietary dies are made in China, but I don't know about this one. Anyway, I will just show you now, after all this lot, which is now going to go into the bin, what I actually finished up with. So let me get this out of the way. And here is the card which I made. So I did end up doing embossing of the die. I tried doing some knitting myself, didn't like it. Found my little butterfly in my pot of oddsies that I cut out. I computer generated the sentiment that my friend asked for, and I just added a few tiny little hearts scattered around, cut from another piece of the background, a bit like that one there. So I'll just show you the actual process that I did. So if you have got a die that, you can't use for whatever reason, I said, I'll keep going on this to see if I can actually die cut it, but I couldn't manage it, not with the reasonable finish. So anyway, I'll show you what I did. Started off with cutting a square to do the embossing on. So in my machine, which is a Spellbinders Platinum 6, can you see that? You can see a bit of it. The sandwich for embossing dies is to have the base plate, the rubber mat, bit of one of those things on there, the rubber mat, the card, and then the die, followed by the blue embossing plate. Now this makes quite a deep impression with this sandwich, and always, if you've got an intricate die or that you're going to emboss, it's always an idea to mist the card with a little water. I don't mean soak it, I mean do it from a distance, either that or squirt into the air and waft the card through it. You just want it dampened so that the fibres relax a bit and then will mould more easily into the die or into the 3D embossing folder, or any embossing folder for that matter. And you'll find also that if there's any around the edge, you don't get those creases so much. So here I've got some water and I'm just going to go a distance away and just give it a bit of a spritz. There we go. So it's had a spritz of water. I can see a few droplets on. I don't normally like to do that, but there we go. Okay, into the machine. Can you see the machine? Yes, you can. Okay. This doesn't fit very nicely like that, but it fits really rather well at a bit of an angle. So just spacing it in a reasonable position. Top plate on and through we go. Hear that noise? Okay. And we have got a little bit of a crease there. It moulded so well it's almost cutting them out. So my answer to that is, let me just wipe this down a minute because I've got water on here. I don't want it now. There we go. I've got a little gizmo. Just rub the back of those little creases so that they don't show. There we are. That's better. Now, some of these are so heavily pressed that they're likely to fall out. So what I'm going to do is put some double-sided tape on the back, and that would ensure that should any of those little hearts decide they would like to go jumping out, this will hang onto them. So just put this across the back, and that will keep all of those little hearts in position. Now, what I actually did on my card was to mount this onto the next size up. I like to use, I love these dies. They are, they're called press cut nesting dies. And they, look, they come in a set with this many in. I don't suppose I'll ever use the huge ones because they're probably for scrapbooking and things like that. But the fact that they've got such small increment, absolutely fabulous. So I use the next size up to make a backdrop for it. Mounted it on foam tape just to give it a bit of relief. Found my little, this is a little memory box butterfly, a piece from an inky background. And to make these stars, I couldn't find any more of that because I made that some time ago. But to make the stars, what I used was this. It's another bit of background, another inky background. And this is a star sort of cascade die from, I think it's Simon Says Stamp. So I just put a bit of double-sided on the back of there, cut out a few, got out my pokey tool and just popped a few on. So it was as simple as anything in the end, but having had a sort of a difficult start, I just thought I would show you one way out of trying to cut a die that doesn't want to be cut. So short and sweet today. Thanks so much for watching.